So the race gets underway then. It's the Giro that takes the start, takes the lead going into the first corner. In second place is Minshaw in the number 33 E-Type. So it's the Giro leading, the E-Type side by side with the Red Van Ferrari and taking the lead, Alistair.
Yes, into Village for the first time, the Minshaw car goes into the lead, but the Giro fighting back till Bechtolsheimer, but if it's John Minshaw aboard, huge amount of experience, particularly at this circuit in a variety of cars over the years, so he just knows where to place that car and he's extending his lead. Just looking into the cockpit, difficult to tell from the helmet whether it's John or son Jack, but anyway, in third place is the Cobra from the third row.
Well, the E-Type getting well away already, I suspect. I think, although Jack drove the car very effectively at the Deutschland Historic Festival recently, I think it's going to be John who starts the race in that car, who's been racing in recent times in the British GT Championship, John Minshaw in a Lamborghini, but now concentrating on historic racing once more, where he began. And in the E-Type leads from the Giro in second place with Till Bechtolsheimer at the wheel of it. Does much of his racing in modern GT cars in the States these days, Till Bechtolsheimer. There's a pack coming through Woodcote, the leader heading into Copse Corner, followed by the Giro, then the E-Type in third place, number 73, which I would imagine is James... No, you reckon it was Harvey Stanley, I think Andrew said. Harvey Stanley in the car to start with. Normally it would be James Cottingham, but who knows. So they're heading up towards you, Alistair.
Yes, up into Beckett's for the first time, and John Minshaw, or Minshaw's lead, we'll say. Bechtolsheimer in second place. Third is the Cottingham Stanley E-Type, and closely followed by the Halusa Ferrari. As you've already mentioned, that unique car. It's wonderful to see it out, but just a shame it's not glinting in the sunshine.
Indeed it is, right. It isn't glinting in the sunshine, as you say. Right, so on to the Hangar Straight. John Minshaw, we think, in the lead. Side by side, the Giro and the other E-Type, the second place E-Type or third place E-Type. It might become the second place E-Type as the cars break for Stowe Corner, going through on the inside and taking the place. Harvey Stanley, or is it... Anyway, he's got through into second place. Or James Cottingham with the Giro Till Bechtolsheimer in third place. And then the Red Van Ferrari in fourth place with Lucas Halusa at the wheel of it. The cars coming through then to complete the lap. And Andrew can now fill us in with the start drivers. What order are you going to do them in programme order, Andrew?
I could do, yes, very please. Quickly. Wakeman starts at number 2. Sharon Alderman starts number 2. Jack Young...
No, hang on. Sharon Alderman starts number 6.
Sorry, it's number 6, yes. Correct.
Yeah, go on.
Jack Young, I thought it was John Young, but it is Jack Young, starts 7. Number 10 is Peter Storman Jr. 14 is Paul Garside. Burton is solo. As I told you, Nicholas Halusa in 16.
It's Nicholas Halusa.
It's Nicholas, yes, that's what it's telling me here.
Right.
The mechanic told me the opposite.
Yes, that's what I thought.
19 is Tilbert Schleimer, you know, Carsten LeBlanc is in 21.
Hang on, 22. 21. Carsten LeBlanc is on his own, yeah.
Les Goebel, 22.
Yeah.
Tony Wood, 23.
Yeah.
Martin Hunt, 24, as we said.
Yeah.
Martin O'Connell, 25. Nicholas James on his own, 29. John Minshaw, as I said, 33.
Yeah.
Theo Hunt is in the 41.
Yeah.
Jack Wilmot, 43.
Yeah.
Alex Drabble, 44. Alan Letts, 48. Chris Woodgate, 49.
Hang on. Yes, Kicker on his own, yeah, right. 207.
Yeah,
go on.
Neil McFadden, 66. Nick Finberg, 68. James Cottingham, I think we said that.
No. You said it was Harvey Stanley. It's James Cottingham, is it?
James Cottingham starting.
Which is what it would normally be.
Yeah, okay. Mike Wrigley, 74. 77, Nick Crudson. 82, Bob Binfield on his own. 91, Mark Holm.
Yeah.
99 now, it's just Graham Coles is driving solo.
Okay.
100 is Mike Thorne.
Yeah.
118 is Robert Law.
Yeah.
119 Richard Hudson.
Yeah.
120 Michael O'Shea. Rick Moore, 129 Rick Wilmot is on his own.
Yeah.
Alex Bell is in 133.
Yeah.
Burnett is at 144 on his own. Robert Ingram 149.
Sorry, who's 144?
149. Robert
who's
Ingram.
144?
No 144. Sorry, there isn't a 144.
Okay.
On this list, 149 Robert Ingram,
yeah.
207 Crispin Harris, and in 600 driving on his own, Sam Tordoff, the BTCC driver.
And 211, Andrew.
Not on the list.
Oh dear, that's the Dodds.
Yeah.
Okay.
211 was a non-starter.
Right. Okay.
There we are.
Thank you, Andrew. That's been very helpful to now know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, they apologise. Apparently, there's been some problem with a fax machine that's spewing out blank paper.
Yeah,
so
that's
that's why you didn't get it. Yeah.
And now I'm getting it. It's just arrived. So whatever they were doing wrong at their end, it's now been sorted. I've just got them as you finished them. Thank you very much. Right, so the lead, it's a battle of the E-types, isn't it? As they come through then to complete the third lap, it's John Minshaw leading, James Cottingham in second place. James would normally start in the car, and he's starting in it now, and giving John Minshaw quite a run for his money as the two of them turn through Abbey. The Tajiro being a little bit left behind now, as is the Ferrari bread van. Then there's a lapped Alfa Romeo, which looks very pretty, but it's a long way back. Alistair, you've got the leaders. Yeah,
James Cottingham going for the wide line into Village, looking for the cut back into the loop, but John Minshaw wise to that one, keeps the car in the middle of the track, turns into the left-hander at the loop, but that means James Cottingham almost comes alongside, but then drops back in behind, but then goes again at Aintree. Great battle between these two. Similar cars as they go on to the Wellington Straight. The Tajiro in third place and the wonderful Ferrari in fourth.
Yes, so the battle of the E-types continues, and into Brooklands goes, we'll come to another E-type, the number 7 car. That's the John and Jack Young car, which according to the list, which I've of course now got, it's Jack Young starting in that car, handing over to his dad, but the car doesn't look as if it'll go that far. Side by side then the two E-types, John Minshaw on the outside, James Cottingham on the inside, as they come out of Lovefield. Now as they go into Woodcote, it's the maroon car that takes the lead. So James Cottingham has the lead over John Minshaw. This is going to be a brilliant battle. In fact, this is going right back. The very first race the E-types had was between Graham Hill and Roy Salvadori at Alton Park in 1961, and it's just like that. Two very similar looking E-types, different colours maybe, but fighting for the lead in the way that Roy Salvadori and Graham Hill did all those years ago. We've got the other E-type, number 7, parked outside here. They're going past you, Alistair.
Yes, and it's changed. It's James Cottingham that's taken the lead from John Minshaw as they turn into Beckett's and sweep through. John Minshaw actually runs wide across the grass in the middle element of Beckett's, and he was going a similar speed to James Cottingham, and James had no such problem. So that's interesting difference in the handling of those two cars.
Yeah, well, I think yesterday John was slightly, when he was being interviewed, he wasn't totally happy with the car, but certainly he made a good start, very good start indeed. But now that James Cottingham has taken the lead, he's getting away. So are we going to have a continuation of the battle, or is he going to go the way of James Cottingham? He's going to be handing over later on to Harvey Stanley. And the Ferrari, I think, is getting a little bit closer to the Tajiro. And those four way ahead, as you saw the camera showing you, it panned back, there was nothing else in sight. The first four cars just dominating the race now. Fifth is actually now the number 24. The number 24 car, Martin Hunt, and the AC Cobra, which will be taken over by Pat Blake and the Edwards. That car running in fifth place. And sixth is the number 23 E-Type being driven by Tony Wood. So there we've got the pack coming down Hanger Straight. You notice actually on the green flag lap that number 10, that's one of the quick Lotus Elites, the Peter Storman car, that pulled off, and I don't think he's actually started the race, number 10, but it would have gone very well, that car, as it did last year. There's one of the Lotus Elites, number 25, the car currently being driven by Martin O'Connell. There's an Alfa Romeo being pushed to one side. I'm afraid that's the Alfa Giulia Sprint 1600 Sprint. Say about that, Jack Wilmot out of the race. So we've got Healy, an Elite, and a couple of E-types. In fact, wherever you look, there's an E-type. We've got a Healy ahead of it at the moment. Andrew.
We've got a Healy in the pits as well, the number 91 Martin Holm car. Beautiful red and white machine. Nigel Greensaw's just been installed in it, but I think you've had some problems, Martin.
Yes, no, we're losing power under about 3,500 revs, having a misfire. Both in second, third and fourth gears, which is making it quite difficult and to keep going, especially at the front. So we're going to see if we can sort that out. We did have it last night, actually. The boys worked till 1 o'clock in the morning to try and resolve it, but quite clearly we haven't found the problem yet. So that's a shame. So we could have gone well in that one, but that's motor racing, as they say. On to the next.
On to the next one. I see you've got a very interesting race suit with yellow tomato on it. Why is yellow tomato? It's probably an internet company.
No, I wish it was. Might make a bit more money, but no, it's a back office company that just invoices lots of other companies, a bit like Philip Green and Arcadia, really.
All right, okay, I would know more of that. Okay, so there's Martin, he's a jolly chap.
Careful where you're taking people, Andrew, because, yeah, mentioning that individual just then. Anyway, Martin O'Connell we can mention, can't we, in the 4th successive race this is, isn't it? He's now in the Lotus Elite, number 25, and he's got the cameras trained on him as he's having a battle with bigger cars like the number 2 E-Type Jaguar of Fred Wakeman. The American driver in an American liveried E-Type Jaguar. And just ahead is the Alex Bell Austin Healey 3000, number 133. Martin in the... he's in 10th place, or he was last time through, and he's now moved up into 9th place. So the little Lotus Elite in 9th place. And going through Copse Corner at the moment, painted in the traditional colours that Sandy Watson uses of dark blue with a day-glow orange nose to the car. Heading up towards you now, Alistair.
Yes, great battle this, isn't it? Martin O'Connell again. And the E-Type number 2 takes the head of that group. That's the Wakeman-Fiskin car. Fred Wakeman, I think you said, starting that one. And Martin O'Connell in that tiny little Lotus Elite, harrying those 2 much bigger cars.
Of course, back in the day when the Elites were the cars to have, there was quite a few of them that were driven by very quick drivers, as good as Martin O'Connell is. Anyway, we've got the leader coming through Abbey now, and I say leader because it is singular, because he's pulling away from John Minshaw. The gap was 1.9 seconds at the end of that 5th lap, then on to lap 6, and the Ferrari is up into 3rd place ahead of the Tagiro, so the Bredvan Ferrari, so-called, up into 3rd place, number 16. 4th is the Tagiro now, number 19, dropping to 4th place, and then a long way back in 5th place, just over the line now. A little battle going on here for 5th place between the number 24. The number 24 AC Cobra, Martin Hunt at the wheel, just saving ahead of the number 23 E-Type Jaguar, which is being started by Tony Wood. With you now, Alistair.
Yes, coming up to, interesting line there, coming up into Village. The E-Type goes incredibly tight into Village and actually gets the place. So 23, the Tony Wood E-Type passes the Hunt Blakeney Edwards Cobra. But the Cobra gets back up the inside at the loop and comes alongside. Which one gets the power down better? The E-Type. So he pulls through, and a big slide there on the water that's lying on Aintree, a tricky part of the circuit. And the E-Type holds on to that position, moves up to 5th place.
And I think whilst you were telling us that, just ahead of it, the Tagiro, which we can see on camera, the Tagiro had a problem coming. Oh, and the slide there by Tony Wood. So Tony Wood in the E-Type slides sideways, fishtails back into the race. But that means that, for the moment anyway, he's dropped back from the number 24 car of Martin Hunt, the AC Cobra. But I was talking about the Tagiro just as that was happening. The Tagiro had a moment up at, coming out of Aintree, and it's dropped well back now. It's no longer in contention for a top 3 position. And maybe there's a problem developing on the car. And here's the spin. This is the Tagiro in the foreground, and there's the spin of the Tony Wood. Not like him to make a mistake, but anyway, once he made it, he was quickly getting it back under control, as you can see, and ends up with the car pointing in the right direction and carrying on his way, but having lost the place to the Cobra for the moment. And there is one of the many E-Types in the race going into Copse Corner. There's the number 2 E-Type Jaguar of Fred Wakeman in the colours of the Briggs Cunningham team, the version of the American racing colours. Martin O'Connell getting stuck into the E-Type Jaguar number 15 of John Burton. And the 2 leading E-Types through Stowe Corner, through Club Corner, and coming up to complete their 6th lap. I think it's getting a bit drier, isn't it? Because we just had a new fastest lap from James Cottingham. I'm not saying it's getting dry, it's just a little less wet on the racing line. Here come the leaders towards you, Alistair.
It's coming up to Village, and I did think that John Minshaw was closing a little last time around, but I think it's probably about the same, around about 2 seconds as they come up to the loop. And Till Bechtolsheimer lost a lot of time, as you were describing. He's dropped behind the Hunt Blakeney Edwards Cobra as the leader comes through Aintree. I wouldn't agree with your comment about the track getting drier, though.
Okay.
Very wet up here.
Well, it's certainly James Cottingham is lapping more quickly than earlier on in the race, but that could be just because he's getting more accustomed to the tricky conditions. Got past me, Tony Wood, in the number 23 E-Type, not making much progress about retrieving the lost ground and the place back from the Cobra. In 7th place is the 66 E-Type, going well in the hands of Neil McFadden. Then in 8th place, another E-Type, the number 2 car of Fred Wakeman. In 9th place, number 133, Alex Bell's Austin Healey 3000. And in 10th place is, now up into 10th place, has come number 15, John Burton. As Martin O'Connell actually dropping back a little bit. That could be another sign that it's getting less wet, because the elite is dropping back places now. You'd expect it to continue to progress forwards, but it's now in 12th place, also behind the number 100, Austin Healey of Mike Thorne. But now trying to get back ahead of it.
Yes, going around the inside of the loop, but in the end has to give best to Mike Thorne as they come through Aintree. And Martin O'Connell dropping back a little off that group ahead. In fact, he's been caught by another elite just behind him.
Yes, that's number 68, which is started by Nick Finberg. So it's quite a good, interesting battle there, because we've got a different number of different cars, 2 Austin Healey's, an E-Type Jaguar or 2, a couple of Lotus Elites now in that mix. At the bottom end of the top 10, that group of cars, bottom end of the top 12. And Sam Tordoff, benefiting from these conditions in the car that normally would be totally uncompetitive, but driven very well, of course, by touring car star Sam Tordoff. That's in 14th place, which I think is probably the highest overall position that car's ever had. There's the red van Ferrari on the screen. So Sam Tordoff in 14th place in car number 600, which is a pretty impressive effort, but clearly Sam's ability is paying dividends in these tricky conditions. So the Ferrari in 3rd place. The pit window is now open. Same idea as other pit windows we've had, minimum of 1 minute stationary. The stop has to be, the pit window is between the 20th and the 40th minute of the race. So we're just into the window now. So one Italian car about to lap another before we switch to the British car that leads the race, the E-Type Jaguar, number 73 of James Cottingham. And last time through, he was 4 1/4 seconds clear. Just passing you now, Alistair.
Yeah, he's onto the Wellington Straight as John Minshaw splashes his way through Aintree, and the ball of spray in the distance is getting further and further away for John Minshaw. Meantime, a very lonely race for the Halusa family Ferrari through the loop.
Yeah, so the Ferrari number 16 is now nearly 18 seconds behind John Minshaw. And as we heard yesterday, when Andrew was speaking to Nicholas Halusa, he reckons he's not as quick as his brother. Well, it's Nicholas Halusa in the car at the moment. We are reliably informed, so perhaps it'll go a bit quicker and be able to challenge the E-Types after the pit stop, which will be coming up fairly soon now. As I say, the pit window now open. Into the pits has come the Nick Finberg, Mark Gordon Lotus Elite. And also in, I think, has come 133 to hand over to Julian Thomas, perhaps.
And also in and out has come the Martin Hunt, Patrick Blakely-Edwards, so I presume it's PBE on board now in the number 24 Cobra, car to watch towards the end of the race, perhaps.
Yeah, Martin Hunt started in that car. So Pat Blakely-Edwards in the number 24 car is certainly one to watch out for, the AC Cobra. One of the very few AC Cobras that's eligible for this category. Most of the AC Cobras are 1963 onwards cars, and this has to be a 1962 car. Oh dear, the Turner, which will grieve Andrew Marriott won't be happy about this. The Nick Crudson, Ken Pritchard-Jones Turner is in the gravel at the entrance to Club, and it's well in the gravel, which makes it look like a safety car situation. Not our call, but if it does mean safety car, then of course everybody's going to make their pit stop, because we are now into the pit stop window. James Cottingham completes another lap, then 8 laps now completed by the leading E-Type Jaguar, number 73. not as far ahead as he has been of John Minshaw in the number 33 car, 2.7 seconds. And just coming into club now, the second part of club, is number 16, Nicholas Halusa in the Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta red van, special bodied car.
A big spin at Village for second place car John Minshaw.
Oh.
It was, I think it was under braking, and he lost it one way, tried to get it back, and then it spun the other way. Perhaps get a replay in a moment, but yes, quite a big spin. But he hasn't lost the place because Nicholas Halusa is only just past you. Right. So John Minshaw retains his second place.
And whilst you were telling us about that, we saw on screen a spin by the Reliance Sabre 6 of Alex Drabble, number 44. Well, that, I think, put a wheel in the gravel, but it got out of it again and has kept going. So that was the Reliant number 44, which is in 18th place, or was before the pit. Clearly the positions are going to get jumbled up now by the effect of the pit stops, although few cars have yet made the pit stop. Possibly waiting to see whether that turner in the gravel is going to precipitate a safety car, which would then be the opportune moment to make the pit stop. If you do it before then, of course, you could suffer the consequences as compared with those who do wait until the safety car comes out. If it is going to come out, I'm not saying it is, but it just looks as though that turner is in the firing line for cars coming into club corner. There is the second place E-Type then, number 33, John Minshaw, after that brief spin. Still in second place, but not nearly as close to James Cottingham as he was. But still well clear of the Ferrari, which has dropped well back. They're just seeing him out of the window going past Martin O'Connell in 8th place now in the Lotus Elite, number 25. It's a shame that the number 10 car wasn't able to start, because that went very well last year, but not able to start this race. There's the leader coming down into Stoke Corner. Doesn't look as though that turner is going to generate a safety car, despite being where it is. And I think we've got in the background there the Sam Tordoff Porsche, with the shot we've got now. We've got the white Porsche, yeah, the fourth car in this line. And Sam Tordoff is now 11th. There are the white Porsche with the green band on the nose. He's got a 911 Porsche. There you can make a comparison between the familiar 911 shape, but there behind it is the number 600, the 356 Porsche, which is now heading for the pit lane. But Sam Tordoff, as I say, has got that car up into 11th place, which really is and now comes the safety car. I'm surprised it's taken as long as it has, but anyway, the safety car is now going to be out, and the reason for the safety car almost certainly is nothing else has really been caught by the camera other than that turner in the gravel at club. Won't take long to move it, but of course the effect of a safety car on a long lap is that it just gets in the way of the race. But I would imagine now that it's going to be very busy in the pit lane with the safety car out, so we'll let the order sort itself out. John Minshaw, of course, now right up behind James Cottingham, so that's going to be helpful to their chances. And so it's going to be a battle of the co-drivers. Harvey Stanley, when he takes over from James Cottingham, and John Minshaw's son, Jack Minshaw. Right, we're just having fax problems here. Right, carrying on with the race then, and round behind the safety car. Lots of you enjoying the racing, I hope, in the grandstands, sheltering from the rain. So the leader and the second place car not yet heading for the pit lane, but they surely will this time. Remember, the pit lane they're using is the Heritage pits coming out of Luffield, so I think this is where they're all going to peel off into the pit lane now. Well, most of them are. James Cottingham isn't. John Minshaw is. Oh yes, so the leader is James Cottingham. I think keeping an eye on John Minshaw to see what he was going to do. Then when he saw that John was definitely going for the pit lane, so James did likewise. So both of them in the pit lane. The Ferrari bred fans in the pit lane as well. So this is the mass invasion of the pits by not everybody, but the majority of the cars have come in. There's 2 or 3 of them stayed out. Alistair, give a yelp if you see somebody going past you, but I don't think you'll get many.
Well, Martin O'Connell has gone past.
Right.
I'm just looking down my screen. There he is, 7th place. Hasn't been in the pits. I guess they're in a bit of a tricky situation with Sandy being a little slower than Martin, wanting to keep Martin out as long as possible.
Right, so there's the number. That's the John Burton E-Type, I think I'm right in saying, number 15. Yeah, it is still out on track. So leading the race at the moment, theoretically, not really, is the little Alpha you'll see coming into your sight in the moment, Alistair.
It's a big moment for Alpha lovers following the safety car.
Yes, this is the Sharon Edelman car number 6, isn't it? Yes.
It is.
Whilst everybody is in the pits, I see that Sam Torloff has been in, hasn't he? So he's out again and pressing on as if the circuit was dry. But there's that delightful little Alfa Romeo. And Andrew.
Yeah, I'm with James. James is just watching his car go out onto the track. Super drive there in very difficult conditions.
Yeah, very tricky because the track resurface makes the wet conditions completely different to anything we're used to, but also had no wipers, so I had to get in the lead, otherwise I couldn't see. So
the wipers weren't working?
No, no, so it was fine everywhere except for this old pit straight here, but I got a little bit of a good run down towards the BRDC complex, down the inside of John, and just sort of managed to get it through somehow. And
I think John had a little spin after that.
Did he? Yeah, I saw that he sort of dropped back a bit, but I wasn't sure why or how, so yeah. But it was great fun.
Yeah, well, how strong's your co-driver?
Hopefully strong enough, but I mean, obviously the safety cars pulled it all back together. Luckily, we hadn't changed by now, so we'll see what happens.
Well done, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a very good effort by James, and considering he had now, of course, as you know, Andrew, an E-Type Jaguar has 3 windscreen wipers, and none of them are working. They all work for the same base, but obviously, as he said, if you haven't got your windscreen wipers, you've got to get into the lead. Sure enough, he did very effectively. Well, the one car that's still circulating yet to stop is the number 22 Aston Martin, which was started, as it usually is, by Les Goebel. George Miller will take it over for the last part of the race. So that actually leads at the moment, the number 22 Aston Martin. Everybody else has now made their pit stop, and the pit window is still open. The safety car has pulled off, pulled in, so we can now resume racing. There's a Chevrolet Corvette about to rejoin the race, the car of Alan Letts, who's handed over to Peter James. And for the last, how long have we got then? Just under 17 minutes, hopefully we'll restore normality. There is the number 33 car going past me here. But of course, the pits it's been in, and the other cars have been in, are the heritage pits between Woodcote and Copse Corner, not the wing pits. So 73 Harvey Stanley at the wheel is not the leading guess. The early pit stop was made by Martin Hunt, wasn't it, before the safety car came out. Pat Blake in the Edwards has taken over the Cobra, and the Cobra is now the leading pit stopper. Number 24, Pat Blake in the Edwards in the Cobra now leads the way. There we are on the screen, you can see it. So Pat Blake in the Edwards leads, and Andrew?
Yeah, I'm with Till Bertramsheimer here. Well, that Tajero's a bit different to CJ Wilson Master or whatever you've raced in the States.
Yeah, it's quite different. A bit of a handful in the wet as well. But yeah, we've never driven it in the wet before, so we're learning. But yeah, very different to the modern stuff back in the States.
Do you actually own that car, Till?
The Tajero?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
What attracted your attention to that? I saw that car racing period, Jackie Stewart winning in it, yeah. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
A nice car to own, but very different.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've had it a few years, and I've only been out with it a couple of times, and been just, you know, the first time I was out with it, the back shockers were jammed shut, so it just tried to kill me every time I turned a corner. But this weekend it seems to be going well. Other than kind of making
great pole position.
Yeah, I mean, other than making sure it's safe, we haven't really touched it. So everything from the dashboard to pretty much every nut and bolt's original on the car. So it's
excellent. Are you carrying on with? I did see you in a couple of IMSA top sports car races in the WeatherTech series. Are you going to do that again?
Yeah, I did the Sebring 12 hours last year. This year I'm doing the Blanc Power Championship in America, which is good fun as well. But yeah, I hope to do some more IMSA next year.
Very good. Well, that's Till, thank you very much. Let's see how Ludo Lindsay gets on in the car. He only did 3 laps in practice, Ludo, so it'll be interesting. Thanks, Till.
And I'm glad to see that he wears a large Alfa Romeo badge on his overalls, even if he's not driving one. Into the pits has come the number 22 Aston Martin, so there's Goebel in, and that leads in the lead then. Last time through, very close to each other. You can see there the Cobra just lapping the Reliance Zeta 6, and there is the E-Type in second place going through Woodcote Corner. So that's the battle for the lead. The Turner's got out of the gravel in his circulator game, number 77. So there's the second place E-Type, number 73, in the hands of Harvey Stanley. Pat Blakey-Edwards in the Cobra is leading the race. And then third place will be Jack Minshaw in the number 33 E-Type Jaguar. But I would have said that Pat Blakey-Edwards in the Cobra against Harvey Stanley in an E-Type is going to go the way of the Cobra. Which isn't to say that Pat is going to have to work for his living, and you can see him working away at the wheel there in this AC Cobra, Martin Hunt's, with which he's enjoyed success in the past as well. And it just seems very wet on certain parts of the circuit. Certainly that was one part of the circuit. The car's coming out of Aintree now, heading down towards Brooklands, passing an Alfa and a Lotus Elite. In fourth place is the Ferrari, now being driven by Lucas Alusa. Now he's only 1.7 seconds behind Jack Minshaw.
And very much catching Jack Minshaw on that lap. He's closed up, but Jack hasn't had too much experience in that car. I think he only drove it for the first time earlier this year.
Yes.
Perhaps just finding his feet a little bit.
Yes, you don't want to bend Dad's car, do you?
No.
Even though he has other E-Types as well. So Jack Minshaw, who's come through the Mod Ginetta racing and is being pursued now by the rather more experienced Lucas Alusa in the Ferrari red van. In fifth place is the E-Type number 66 of now Paddy Shovlin, who's raced Ferraris in the past. Then in sixth place is the Tajiro, now being driven by Ludovic Lindsay, number 19. In seventh place is the 133 Austin Healey, now with Julian Thomas at the wheel. In eighth place is number 2, now being driven by Gregor Fiskin. In ninth place is number 141, which has been Gareth Burnett throughout in the other Porsche 356 Coupe. And we could have a battle. In fact, we are, because they're together, aren't they? Because we've got Burnett in ninth place. 7 seconds behind him is Sam Tordoff in the number 600 Porsche 356. So they really benefit from these wet conditions, the two early Porsches. Then in 11th place, we have number 21, which is Carsten LeBlanc with the famous Austin Healey 3000 DD300. Well, at the moment, the E-Type number 33, Jack Minshaw on the wheel, is holding its own against the Ferrari, which we thought was going to close up, but I think he's now dropping away a little bit. The Cobra leading the way, number 24. Completes his 12th lap, and the gap between the Cobra and the E-Type is 3.9 seconds. Got back in your sights in the moment, Alistair, the leading two cars, but the gap, I don't think, he's certainly not coming down, I would have thought.
No, Patrick Blaney-Edwards seems to have that under control. This great driving style Patrick always adopts, which is lots of power and sideways, but it's very effective. And they both come into the loop. It's still close for the lead, but as you say, Patrick seems to have this under control.
Yes, there's a lot of arm work going on in the Cobra, isn't there, to keep it under control. But Pat Blakey-Edwards is one of these guys, and we saw him, we'll see him later on in the pre-war sports car race. Grew up on Fraser Nash's chain gang, as they're called, Fraser Nash's. And the gap between the first two, 3.9. Between the third place E-Type and Lucas Alusa with the Ferrari is 3.8 seconds, so the gap almost identical. Paddy Shovlin's still fifth in the number 66 E-Type. Being caught by Ludovic Lindsay, I reckon, in the Giro. Seventh is Julian Thomas in the Austin Healey, second in class C to the Ferrari. And then eighth is number 2, Gregor Fiskin's number 2 E-Type. And the two Porsches are coming back towards you now, but they're going very, very impressively. Gareth Burnett and Sam Tordoff. We've got Gareth Burnett first. He's going to be with you in a moment, number 141.
Yes, he's pulled quite a long way ahead of Sam Tordoff over the last couple of laps. But they're both solo driven, and they've been running very close together virtually the whole race. Burnett sliding through the loop. Tordoff just coming into the loop now, as our leader actually goes out of Beckett's down towards the Hangar Straight.
I think the pattern's set now. We've got 9.5 minutes to go, and the AC Cobra, which didn't look as though it was going to be in with a chance at the early part of the race, is now looking very strong indeed. Pat Blake gave us the wheel. It qualified on the third row. In fact, qualified alongside the number 33 E-Type on row 3. But now Pat Blake and Edwards, I think, as we're saying, has things under control, despite the best efforts of Harvey Stanley. Through club corner comes the leader, up behind the John Burton E-Type, number 15. And that's another lap ticked off. 13 laps completed, 8 3/4 minutes remain. Harvey Stanley in second place, dropping away a little bit more, not a lot, 4 seconds, just over 4 seconds now is the gap first to second. Is through club, third place, number 33, Jack Minshaw. Not looking like to catch the leader, lapping about a second slower, but is he still being caught by the Ferrari red van with Lucas Alusa at the wheel? Well, the gap this time, 4.5 seconds. No, he's not catching. The Ferrari is falling back. So I think that the leading positions are now kind of settled. First 4 places. Fifth, Paddy Shovlin in the number 66 E-Type Jaguar of Neil McFadden. Sixth, number 19, is the... Now that could catch the E-Type. In Ludovic Lindsay's hands, the number 19 Tajiro. Or could it? No, it's dropped back on that lap, 4 seconds. In fact, Paddy Shovlin, who was pretty good in the British GT Championship a few years ago in a Ferrari, also raced or drove in the Corsa Clienti Ferrari series of races where he got the chance. Well, there weren't so much races, they were track high-speed demonstration laps that they were able to do in a recent Ferrari Formula 1 car. And Paddy Shovlin and Michael Cullen, who's also been driving this weekend, they were both participants in that. So he knows how to handle powerful cars in tricky conditions, Paddy Shovlin. And in 5th place, drawing away from Ludovic Lindsay in the Tajiro, Julian Thomas in the number 133 Healey, just ahead of Gregor Fiskin in the number 2 E-Type. Now that could change. That's 133 and 2. That's overall, they're in different classes. And the Porsches, the old early model Porsches, Gareth Burnett getting away gradually from Sam Tordoff. So that's how the land lies at the moment amongst the front runners. Class A still led by number 25, Lotus Elite, which Martin O'Connell started, but which Sandy Watson is now at the wheel of. Something further down the order, the XK150 Jaguar. Number 129, that's the car of Rick Wilmot, who's driven it throughout. And he has right behind him number 82. No, not number 82. It's the Morgan anyway. 129, the XK150 Jaguar, the predecessor of the E-Type Jaguar. Evolved from the original XK120 sports car. There's the leader, the AC Cobra. Number 24 through Abbey. followed by Harvey Stanley. 3.8 seconds the gap. Back with you, Alistair.
Turning into Village, and a couple of slower cars, one of which is the Sandy Watson Elite, started by Martin O'Connell. But plenty of room down the Wellington Straight for Patrick Blakeney-Edwards to make his way through. And he's keeping the Harvey Stanley E-Type at a good distance. And looking just a bit further back at Village now, it's Jack Minshaw, and he's being caught by Lucas Halusa, in the Bredvan Ferrari again. So having held him at bay for a couple of laps, they're very close again now.
Much closer than they've been for several laps. Yes, that's absolutely right. So the Ferrari, which we thought was fading rather, in fact, last time around, it did its best lap of the race. Lucas Halusa doing the Ferrari's fastest lap, and that's the explanation there. It's not because Jack is going slower, it's because the Ferrari is going quicker than it's gone so far. And now on this lap, in the first sector, the Ferrari has done the absolute best time. So, dare I suggest, Alistair, the track is a little less wet now on the line, on the racing line, in places?
Well, I could start to agree with you now, because the cloud is lightening as well, I've noticed. It just feels a little bit less gloomy.
Well, suddenly, the Ferrari is like a switch has been flicked, and the Ferrari is suddenly going much, much quicker. As I say, it's done the absolute best time in the first sector. Just before that, the leader had done the absolute best time in the first sector, but of course, it hasn't done that anymore. Now the purple first sector is to the credit of the Ferrari. Now, we've got just under 4 minutes remaining, so all the Ferrari can hope for, all Lucas Halusa can hope for, is possibly getting third place. And he's going to go for it, I think. Meanwhile, you've got the E-Type coming, they got them passing you together.
We have, yes, leaders have gone through, and in fact the E-Type gets held up, Jack Minshaw, by a slower car in Beckett's. Nothing the slower car can do, and it's another E-Type, and he still hasn't got past, and that's allowed Lucas Halusa to close right up as they go onto the Hangar Straight.
Yeah, that's the number 15 E-Type of John Burton. And the E-Type of Jack Minshaw and the Ferrari of Lucas Halusa, both driving Dad's cars here, sons of cars owners. And the E-Type in third place turns into Stowe Corner. The Ferrari right behind it now, very much in contention. Personal best for the car in the second sector, not the absolute best, but it's going to be a very quick lap this by the Ferrari, and so clearly sensing now as they go through, the leader has gone over the line with more than a lap time left on the clock. So we've got the lap they've just started and one more after this, which could be just what Halusa needs, what Lucas Halusa needs to take third place. Up ahead of them, you can see the Lotus Elite number 25 now being driven by Sandy Watson, which Martin O'Connell had in the top 10. Sandy keen not to lose the plot in this race after his problems earlier on. And number 26, sorry, number 25 in 14th place. It's lost another place on that lap, but it still leads Class A by quite a margin from the Finberg, Gordon, now Mark Gordon car.
And the third and fourth place cars go through, and Jack Minshaw certainly is doing everything he knows to keep ahead of the Ferrari. The gap has closed, as we've said, but now he's managing to maintain that third position. And meantime, Patrick Blakeney-Edwards has just gone up another 2 gears and seems to be pulling away at great speed from Harvey Stanley now for the lead.
Yeah, well, Pat Blakeney-Edwards has just done that car's best lap of the race last time through. The gap is now 6.7 seconds, so I think the fight for the lead has almost gone, but not the fight for third place. They're nose to tail as they go through Woodcote. So Jack Minshaw, as you say, Alistair, doing all he can to hang on to this third place. Into Copse Corner, they'll be back with you in a moment. So Jack Minshaw, I don't know whether Andrew can find what Dad's up to down in the pit lane. John Minshaw watching this as his lad comes up back into your side, Alistair, for the penultimate time.
And a clear track in front of them through Beckett's, so it's the E-Type, the grey E-Type leads through the right-handed element of Beckett's and keeping the gap to Lucas Halusa about the same. So I think if Jack can just hold it on down the long Hangar Straight, he should be okay.
Well, they've got one more lap after this. Lower down, what have we got? Yes, I've mentioned that already, that Sandy Watson lost another place down to 14th place, dropping behind the number 118 Triumph TR4 of Robert Raw initially, now Xavier Sancedo. Leaders have gone now, or the leader has gone on to his last lap. But the gap was stayed about the same first and second. Here's the Cobra coming past me through Abbey. Here's the E-Type in second place, Harvey Stanley. And for third place, it's still just Jack Minshaw as they start the last lap. This is going to go right down to the wire, over the line, go the E-Type and the Ferrari for third and fourth places. Leader with you, Alistair, completely on his own now.
Yep, coming through the loop. Big slide from Patrick Blakeney-Edwards, nothing unusual there. Second place, Harvey Stanley. Then we get the third and fourth place cars, and as you say, absolutely nose to tail as they come up towards Village. They've got a slower car keeping well out of the way. Lucas Alusa decides to go wide into Village, goes round the inside of the Corvette and up to the loop. They've got a slower car in front of them. Jack Minshaw just maintains his position, now back on the power again, but the Ferrari's right under the rear bumper of the E-Type now as they go onto the Wellington Straight.
So the E-Type still in front, the Ferrari with a smaller engine, but of course a lot of power from that engine, the 3-litre V12 engine the Ferrari has, draws alongside the E-Type Jaguar as they come down the Wellington Straight and towards Brooklands Corner, and I think we're going to find the Ferrari will get through, but Jack Minshaw's going to try and sit with him on the outside, but he doesn't succeed in doing so, and so the Ferrari goes through, and looks as though the Lucas Alusa Ferrari has taken third place on this last lap from the E-Type Jaguar that led off the line, led from the start of the race in the hands of Father John Minshaw. Now Jack Minshaw losing out on this final lap to the Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta Bread Van. But no doubt about the leader. Although we haven't mentioned it before today, but there's the little Ogle SX1000, based on a Mini Cooper S. The Ogle Mini, very distinctive car. Nicholas James driving the car, number 29. Somewhere down the order, down in 26th place, but it's good to see something different in the Mini tradition. So the Cobra coming down Hangar Straight for the final time. The car started the race in the hands of its owner Martin Hunt, and an early pit stop, despite the safety car coming out after it, it didn't lose out from that, making an early pit stop in the window and handing over to Pat Blakeney-Edwards, who's done the job he does so often, which is to bring a car home victorious into the second part of the club corner, twitching away at the wheel as if he was driving a Fraser-Nash chain gang. A rather bigger, more powerful car, goes over the line, takes the checker flag. A very good win indeed by Pat Blakeney-Edwards and Martin Hunt in the AC Cobra. In second place there is the E-Type Harvey Stanley, finishing the job off, started by James Cottingham, who of course led early on because his windscreen wipers weren't working and therefore he had to be in the lead, he said. And the Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta Bread Van finishes in third place, having passed Jack Minshaw's E-Type Jaguar on the last lap, and pulling away, in fact, to take third place and win Class C, the two cars ahead of it, finishing first and second in Class D, and also John and Jack Minshaw finishing in fourth place and third place in Class D. And I'm afraid into the gravel. Now, this is a great shame because Paddy Shovlin was going so well in that car in, what were they, in fifth place, I think I'm right in saying, but they won't be now because he's in the gravel. And so fifth place is going to go to the number 2 E-Type of Gregor Fiskin and Fred Wakeman. Gregor finishing the job off in the car. There we see the Porsches. That's the Gareth Burnett car. So still waiting for a fifth place finisher because of that visit to the gravel by Paddy Shovlin. And the whole lot of them will be shoveling to get the car out of the gravel. So those Porsches are going to finish, both of them, in the top 10, which is very impressive indeed. So fifth place does go to number 2, yes, taking the flag now. Gregor Fiskin at the wheel of it at the end. In sixth place, the Austin Healey 3000, winning Class C of Alex Bell and Julian Thomas, number 133. In seventh place, the Tajiro seeming to fade towards the end there, finishing in seventh place, number 19. Started by Till Bechtelsheimer, finished by Ludovic Lindsay. And then 8th and 9th will go to the Porsches yet to take the flag, but they will do soon. Number 141, Gareth Burnett, and Sam Tordoff in number 600. There's the result on the screen then. First, Martin Hunt and Pat Blakeney-Edwards in the number 24 AC Cobra. Second, James Cottingham and Harvey Stanley in the number 73 E-Type Jaguar. In third place, Nicholas and Lucas Halusa in the number 16 Ferrari 250 GT Berlinetta Bread Van. In fourth place, number 33, John and Jack Minshaw's Jaguar E-Type. In fifth place, number 2, the E-Type Jaguar of Fred Wakeman and Gregor Fiskin. In sixth place, number 133, the Austin Healey 3000 of Alex Bell and Julian Thomas. In seventh place, number 19, the Tajiro Buick, the Tajiro GT of Till Bechtolsheimer and Ludovic Lindsay. In eighth place, Gareth Burnett in the number 141 Porsche 356 Coupe. And in ninth place, Sam Tordoff in the number 600 Porsche 356. And in 10th place, Carsten LeBlanc in the number 21 Austin Healey 3000. So that's the top 10. And we can just go a little bit further. In 11th place, we had the number 207 Austin Healey 3000 of Crispin Harris and James Wilmoth. In 12th place, John Burton in the number 15 E-Type Jaguar. 13th, the Triumph TR4 of Robert Raw and this is number 118 of Robert Raw and Xavier Sanster Acedo. In 14th place, number 25, Martin O'Connell and Sandy Watson with the Lotus Elite, which was a bit further up when Martin was driving it, but it still won its class. In 15th place, the Austin Healey 3000 of Mike Thorne, number 100, and John Todd. Behind them, in 16th place, the Jaguar E-Type, number 74 of Mike Wrigley. So over to Alan for the podium.
The podium for race 5 of our weekend here at the Silverstone Classic, the Royal Automobile Club Tourist Trophy for historic cars. We'll get the driver pairings onto the podium in reverse order. So in third place and on the last lap as well, number 16, Lucas and Nicholas Halusa. Congratulations to the both of them. Delighted as they take the third step of the podium. On the second step of the podium, number 73, James Cottingham and Harvey Stanley. Well done. Congratulations to both of them as they make their way onto the second step of the podium. And victorious in car number 24, Martin Hunt and Pat Blakeney-Edwards. Congratulations to the both of them as they take the top step of the podium, being congratulated by the other drivers. Very happy to say that Ben Cousins is here, the chairman of the Royal Automobile Club, in order to make the presentation. Nice to see you, Ben. Over to the far end of the podium first of all, and third place about to receive their handshakes from Ben, chairman of the Royal Automobile Club. Both Nicholas and Lucas having their trophies. So too for James and Harvey. And then on to our victorious Martin and Pat on the top step of the podium, about to receive the garlands of victory around their neck. Get down, says Ben. And garlands around both of their necks, and two huge gold and silver trophies from Ben Cousins. Thank you, Ben, for making the presentation. And that is our podium for race 5 of the weekend, the Royal Automobile Club Tourist Trophy for historic cars. So they all pose with their trophies. Can they bunch up a little closer together? Can we get a tighter shot of them all quite close? There we go. That's the picture with Ben in the picture as well. I think, Ben, you could afford to get on the third step of the podium, on the second step of the podium, and bunch up together as the rain continues to fall. And away for the cameras. The cameras click away, and we'll have a word with our victorious pairing with Martin and Pat. Can we speak to Pat first of all? Pat, would you like to come down? Are you not exhausted? I mean, the way you work at the wheel of the car.
It's certainly a very physical car to drive, but funny enough, easier in the wet than the dry. I mean, more difficult to control, but less tiring on the arms. But you know, I was fortunate enough to do the previous Woodcote Stirling Moss race. I had an idea where the grip was, and we got slightly lucky with the safety car. And as I came, I pitted first, just within the pit window. And as I came out of the pit lane, saw Harvey in the brilliant DK Jaguar, and just pipped him before he entered the track. And that slightly set the end of the race, because if he was in front, there was no way I was going to get past him.
The conditions changed as the race went on. There was a while that we thought maybe one or two corners were drying a little.
I think, no matter how much rain came down, I think it was probably as slippery at the start as it was at the end. But, thank you to Martin for letting me drive his Cobra again. That's brilliant. And well done to the Blakeney Motorsport team. Well done to Motor Racing Legends for putting on this race, and DK Engineering for sponsoring it. All of us are very grateful.
Shall I have a quick word with Martin? Martin, hop down and have a quick chat to me. Tell us about the start.
Well, Patrick said it all. I mean, the start was quite hairy, actually. It was all pretty close. There were cars left and right, and I didn't get a particularly good one. So I had to unwind a few positions, which I then had a great battle with, I think it was Tony Wood in the E-Type. And we were, battling nicely, and he got past me at the complex. But then, unfortunately, he had a little spin just before Luffield, so I was able to take him back.
Of course, it's your car, so you're doing what we're doing, and that's watching the pictures of Pat at the wheel of your car. It's hugely entertaining for us.
It was quite nerve-wracking for us.
Excellent, well done, many congratulations. Thank you, Martin. That is our podium, everybody, for race 5 of the weekend, the Royal Automobile Club Tourist Trophy for Historic Cars. And we just heard from our victorious drivers of car number 24, Martin Hunt and Pat Blakeney Edwards.